BC, thanks for watching and have a great week.
KUAM TV8, home of the Milan Cortina Olympics. Coverage begins February 6, 2026. KUAM News headlines are presented by Calvo's Insurance, protecting Micronesia for 85 years. Matson and the Adai Itano program. Apply at matson.com and McDonald's of Guam. I'm loving it.
Ahead on KUAM News Primetime. Education officials going before lawmakers as budget talks continue, warning of the dire and potential impacts of a proposed $40 million budget gap. More coming up.
When procedure collides with principle, who decides what voices are being heard? I'm Nevaeh Anderson with a weekend confrontation forcing Guam to face that question head on.
And I'm Suki Hirayama with the story on visitors increasingly seen walking on the highway from the airport, how that's flagging larger safety concerns on the road to recovery.
Hafa and good evening. Welcome to KUAM News Primetime. I'm Destiny Cruz-Lingus. Thanks so much for starting your week with us. Well, a potential increase in school closures, layoffs, and more. The island's largest government agency laying out the possible impacts of a proposed budget $40 million short of what it asked for. Here's more from this weekend's budget talks between GDOE and lawmakers. From layoffs en masse to reduced work weeks and services.
Passing the budget as is will be disastrous for the department and Guam as a whole.
The Guam Department of Education going before lawmakers Friday, warning of dire impacts if its fiscal year 2026 budget is cut from the $306 million requested to the $266 million proposed.
GDOE would need to cut a cumulative $50.9 million in general fund costs. The total value of the above cuts and corrections is a reduction of only $30.9 million, meaning that further $20 million of cuts must be made elsewhere in the budget.
But Steve Guerrero, director of the Office of Finance and Budget, says he doesn't believe GDOE is being shortchanged.
It's hard for me to keep giving an agency monies, especially in the tens of millions, if they're lapsing potential 10 million every year. And that was just my basis of doing it. If there is a need for 20, 30, 40 million for GDOE, then, we need to see it. But historically, the way they've been spending based on the appropriation we've given them, it seemed that it was just adequate.
Some senators also making note of GDOE's lapse in funds.
It doesn't look good when you ask for something, you ask for a certain budget, and then you get appropriated something less, but yet you still have lapses in the millions of dollars. It doesn't look good.
Others, however, arguing the department needs more support.
It's frankly disgusting what we're hearing in here tonight. Acting like these lapses, which from what I'm hearing are obligated, acting like these lapses are a blank check. Acting like if you make $50 million in cuts to critical services, that somehow the Department of Education is going to roll on.
Meantime, senators reconvening over the weekend to consider amendments, including Education Oversight Chair Senator Vince Borja's proposal to set aside $10 million for maintenance out of GDOE's $266 million allocation. A weekend budget session turning on its head as a dispute over appropriating funds for the Guam Department of Education ended in an unprecedented confrontation between senators. Tonight, lawmakers and the Democratic Party of Guam raising alarm about what this behavior could mean for democracy on Guam. Nevaeh Anderson reports.
Silencing dissent weakens democracy. That's what the Democratic Party of Guam had to say after Appropriations Chair Senator Christopher Dueñas attempted to remove Senator Therese Terlahi from the session floor Saturday. Carrying on with fiscal year 2026 budget debate, Senator Chris Barnett offered 2 amendments to allocate $4.5 million in excess FY25 general fund revenues to the Guam Department of Education.
GDOE has been very adamant about how they need these funds to stave off cuts that are absolutely going to impact the classroom learning and the Guam Department of Education.
After multiple attempts to garner his colleagues' support, Barnett's amendments failed. Dueñas ruling them out of order, saying the funds could not be used. That's when Senator Therese Terlahi stepped up, making points of inquiry to get clarity on the ruling.
These were to obligate 2025 general fund revenue balance, meaning excess revenues from FY25. Of course, you said now that there's...
Senator, I've already ruled on that, and I've made the explanation.
My inquiry is that you said there's 4.
We are in recess.
Dueñas repeatedly ruled Terlahi out of order.
Mr. Chair, with all due respect, I believe I have the floor on a point of inquiry.
Roman numeral I, Roman numeral 5. Senator Bora,
Mr. Chair,
you may
I
proceed.
believe I had the floor on a point of inquiry when you
Senator,
walked out.
I already have ruled on that amendment.
You haven't even heard my point of inquiry, Mr.
We are
Chair.
in recess.
Terlahi standing firm in her right to raise her point of inquiry until...
I have the floor on a point of order,
I will have Sergeant
Mr.
Arms
Chair.
remove you from the floor for the duration of this amendment.
If I have the floor,
Sarge,
how can
please remove the member.
Be interrupted?
The Sergeant-at-Arms and Speaker Frank Bloss Jr. spent nearly an hour attempting to remove Terlahi. She refused, and session recessed until later Saturday evening. Dueñas issuing a statement defending his ruling, saying the legislature, quote, cannot and will not allow disorder to overshadow the people's work, and that the people's house must operate with, quote, respect, dignity, and order. In a statement of her own, Senator Terlahi described Dueñas' behavior as, quote, an alarming display of power abuse that puts the people's interests at risk. In closing, she poses a question. Can the Republican majority throw out anyone who disagrees with them? As budget hearings continue, the incident has shifted debate beyond numbers and line items, raising questions about whether dissent is being silenced in Guam's legislature and what that could mean for the island's democracy moving forward. Nevaeh Anderson, KUAM News.
Time for a quick break. You're watching KUAM.
Win one championship, you're celebrated. Win twice, they call you a hero. 3 times, they say words like legend and dynasty. 4, 5, 6 titles, they'll say enough is enough. But when you've won it all 7 times, what's left to say? The trophy speaks for itself. Introducing the full lineup of Ram trucks. Ram, 7-time winner of Motor Trend's Truck of the Year.
I grew up on Guam. Sports shaped who I am. But representing our island on the national basketball team taught me the importance of community. After 10 years in Hawaii, working at Bank of Hawaii, I came home to give back and to lead. At Bank of Hawaii, we're passionate about helping everyone in our community create a better life for themselves and their families to reach their possible. I'm Mike Sakazaki, and I can't wait to help you reach yours.
Anything's possible.
Reach your possible with Bank of Hawaii.
I thought you worked in his house.
Oh, I'm wherever he needs to fuel up. Oh, Cantina chicken burrito.
Thanks, Todd.
That's the way to do it.
You know what? Let me actually get something to wash that down with, please.
I got you.
Easy. Appreciate it.
You've made a powerful enemy, Todd.
I didn't mean
Welcome back to Primetime. Now to a concern recently brought to KUAM's attention. Visitors are increasingly seen walking on the roadside outside the airport with their luggages where there's no sidewalks. As Mitsuki Hirayama reports, it's flagging a larger issue of road safety and its potential impacts to tourism recovery efforts.
Welcome to America, the land of cars and zero sidewalks.
A viral video on TikTok shows a tourist in Guam attempting to walk from the airport to his hotel to save money on taxi fare. The 32-minute walk to Ipa Road is a bumpy one with a lack of sidewalks. He's just one of many visitors frequently seen lugging their luggage in the area and is on the Guam Police Department's radar. Chief of Police Stephen Ignacio.
Personally, in my experience, I have seen, sometimes our visitors, or our tourists, either coming from or leaving the airport, and they get kind of concerned, right? Because walking, unfortunately, there's no sidewalks after a certain point at the airport, and all you see is, these tourists lugging their luggage, pulling them behind them.
But the sidewalks are just one aspect of a larger road safety concern, from reports of visitors jaywalking to driving on the wrong side of the road.
We don't know what their ability to read some of our traffic signs are, or just understand some of the rules of the roadway here. But I think the rental car companies do a good job in educating them as much as they can as they check out a vehicle. But I think what we can do is, if there is an issue, maybe we can look at GVB, Public Works, to kind of put up signs, traffic signs or road signs that will kind of point them in the direction they need to go.
Just one accident making headlines could have an impact on tourism recovery efforts. When making travel plans, destination safety is a driving factor. Guam Visitors Bureau President and CEO Regine Biscoli.
Safety and security is always at the top of mind for our visitors, and so we really want to make sure that we are continuing to collaborate. We've been working very closely and well with the Department of Public Works to make sure that posted street signs and areas for pedestrians are really well marked, especially here in Tumon.
She says safety is a priority for GVB. That includes making sure even the small things like potholes, broken reflectors, and medians aren't overlooked.
Our maintenance team has also done a really great job of going over and painting medians, making sure our curbs are bright and vibrant with that safety yellow, making sure that it's visible for both our motorists and any pedestrians and visitors that might be walking up and down Tumon.
Meantime, KUAM reached out to DPW for comments regarding any plans for constructing sidewalks near Airport Road. Mitsuki Hirayama, KUAM News.
And before news time, DPW Director Vince Ariola told KUAM that Route 10A is scheduled for a complete expansion and reconstruction, which includes additional lanes and sidewalks. DPW is reviewing options to see what short-term improvements they can implement to accommodate the safety of pedestrians in the area.
Now for a look at your world at home. Here's a view from Nimitz Beach.
GU Self-Storage, located in Harmon next to McDonald's, offers a variety of storage units. With rates starting as low as $95 per month, we offer complimentary use of dollies, push carts, Pines hand trucks, and pallet jack, with a fully covered loading and unloading areas and ADA accessible units. We offer 24-hour CCTV surveillance monitoring, alarm, and individual pin-coded gate and door access, because your safety is our priority. GU Self-Storage, voted Pika's Best in 2024. Call 671-648-7867 today.
Get set to ace the school year with Kmart's A+ deals for every grade. Crush the classroom with unbeatable deals on school supplies, plus tasty snacks and drinks that are perfect for packing lunches and powering through the school day. College bound? Get campus ready with dorm essentials like bedding, organizers, and cool touches to make it yours. Teachers score everyday discounts on classroom essentials to spark every student's success. Move to head of the class only at Kmart. Kmart, back to school, back to cool.
Don't need a work break, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replay, and I'll be around. Whoa. You can count on me. You can count on me for life.
Wherever life takes you,
We're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
Wesley kicks out. Simon, big three. Oh, baby!
My name is Megan Camacho. Leah Roman. Landon DeBarrett.
Hi, I'm Manny Guarin, head coach of the Academy Cougars. I characterize it as a rebuild team. We're just trying to find ourselves, learn each other, different leaders, and we just hope that they step up and we continue to improve every day.
I think everybody's keeping up so far, and I think that we're all like adapting really well to each other, even though some of us haven't played together.
I think they can expect our energy, just good volleyball in general, like overall skills, how we can maintain ourselves, mentality, and energy.
Playing against public schools and integration of both private and public, it's going to be great to see the exposure. I miss it. It's been like a couple years, so.
I'm really looking forward to this Clutch preseason tournament, and let's go. Viva Clutch!
Is your child having difficulty walking, talking, playing and learning like other children? As parents, we ask ourselves, what should I be doing? If you are worried about your child's development, the Guam Early Learning Council is here to help. Simply dial 311 Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., excluding holidays, to get resources and valuable information.
Get yourself ready for a trip through McDonald land. There's fish-shaped volcanoes, you'll even find a French fry. But just turn around and see if you won't find a hamburger patch as a handful of McDonald's and McDonald Bank.
Come get the new Mount McDonald Land Shake when you order the McDonald Land meal.
Is brought to you by Docomo Pacific Better Together, Fresco Clothing, original custom design apparel of Guam and the Marianas, and the Guam Army National Guard. Live here, serve here.
Hey everybody, you know what never gets old here? Our sunsets. I've been saying for years here on this very desk, we have the best sunsets in the world, bar none, and there's a sunset recovery run. I never need to recover from the sunsets. I will take those every day of the week, but you want to get out because it's a 2K and 5K. It's down at Chamorro Village. Please make sure to register. The nighttime ones, even the late afternoon ones, are always really, really cool. Good group of people, different time, different air, different vibe, but it's always 100% fun, and you are going to have a blast. Also, you're going to have a really, really fun time at the 4th annual Veg Run, so know how to eat well, run well, be very, very happy and healthy for your family. Check this out. There you go. The 2K and 5K routes are laid out there for you. It's going to be in Ipao Beach, so you know that's the other amazing thing. Hey, shout out to my friend Richard Tidegui and all of the folks at the Guam Running Club because they are doing an amazing race. Make sure to check this out too because the Veg Run is coming up. Fun for all ages and all levels. And also the Mosaic Workshop is coming up. Mosaicing, not even a word, is an art. And it's an art form, and we want to show you how to do it. This is for kids, so if you want to know how to take a general idea, a shape, and have pictures within the picture, make sure to go check it out because it's on Saturday the 30th, just from 10 to 12 over at Kaha. It's a very beautiful, wonderful building. I used to do plays in there. We used to do rehearsals, and they continue the amazing work with the arts and crafts and performing arts over there for a Mosaic workshop. All right, birthday time. Let's do that right now. Happy birthday to KUAM's own DJ Oz, Oscar Jackson. Have a happy birthday, bro. We hope you enjoyed your special day today. Francine Escalona, happy birthday, mommy from Cisco and Tasia. And Kainoa Lika Haley Nicholas, happy 8th birthday. And your family says we love you to infinity and beyond. This comes from mommy, daddy, and your siblings who say keep being sweet. Want to wish your special someone a happy birthday? Just click the QR code here on your screen or email birthdayclub@kuam.com.
And that's your Primetime Show. I'm Destiny Cruz-Lingus. Have a safe evening.
Hafaday, and thank you for joining us for this episode of Women Rising, the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce podcast on the KUAM Podcast Network. My name is Maria Leon Guerrero. I am the past president of the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce. Also, my day job, I'm Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer at Bank of Guam. And today's guest, which I'm very excited to welcome, is Melanie Mendiola. Melanie is the Vice President and Director of Investor Education and Guidance at BG Investment Services. And in the not so distant past, in her former life, she was the administrator and CEO of the Guam Economic Development Authority, a role in which she served for 6 years. I'm just going to brag a little bit on Mel here. She is a graduate of NYU in 2003. She has a double major of economics and East Asian studies and a business minor. She earned her MBA from University of Guam in 2012, as well as a Master of Financial Planning from Kansas State University in 2017. She's been recognized for her research, her efforts in championing small business. She sits on several nonprofit boards, and most recently, she became a trustee for the Guam Memorial Hospital. Well, Mel, welcome to the show, and thank you for being our guest.
Half a day. Thank you, Maria. Thank you for having me.
You know, you've watched Wayne's World, right? You're a child of the 90s.
Yes.
Remember when Wayne and
Party
Garth...
time.
Remember when they went to the Alice Cooper concert and then they went back and they were like, we're not worthy. Yeah. I kind of feel like that right now.
No, stop, please. Please stop. Likewise, Maria. Likewise.
Anyways, okay, so Mel, you know, inquiring minds want to know, reflecting back on your time at GIDA, what is a project or accomplishment that you feel most proud of?
That's a great question. I think that there's so much to be proud of at the Guam Economic Development Authority. I think it was, you know, the Guam Economic Development Authority, I feel like, is celebrating 70 years. We're hitting a milestone of an anniversary over at the agency. The agency was built on the premise of handing out tax incentives, basically enticing off-island investment into our island to build our economy. Tumon Bay was built on the work of the Guam Economic Development Authority, all those hotels that you see that popped up. Even the Guam Regional Medical City, GRMC, came to Guam due to a large part to GIDA's work. I'm particularly proud of really not one singular thing, but during the pandemic, Governor Leon Guerrero asked us to roll out a number of different programs to benefit small businesses. And so in grand total, I believe we did somewhere close to the tune of $200 million. And this is $200 million that hit the street of our local businesses. It helped people keep their doors open during the pandemic. It helped people expand after the pandemic. Basically, it did a part to aid our economy, but then it did its part to grow our economy. So that's probably what I'm most proud of. There were a number of different programs within that big balance, that big number. We had our very first grant was a small business grant that was primarily just because, remember how we thought the pandemic was going to be like a 1 month thing? Yeah. We're like, oh, this will help you tide the, close the gap for that 1 or 2 months you had to close. Yes. And then we had another round. And then we ended up with the LEAP grant, Local Employers Assistance Program. And that program was really to aid the tourism industry. And what I really liked about it, it was all data driven. We had everyone always turn in their GRTs, their BPT filings. And so we started, it was like a funnel. The very first grant benefited over 2,500 businesses. The very last grant benefited probably under 600 businesses. I don't have the numbers anymore off the top of my head, but it was like a funnel, and it really was reflective of our economy and how we were still, remember, this was like 2 years ago, we were still, our tourism sector is still recovering.
It's still recovering up to today.
Still recovering, exactly. And so that's probably the work I'm most proud of, is being able to rise to the occasion to meet that need. And the team at Gita has just, I miss them. They're wonderful, gifted people who have who really rose to the occasion to deliver this to our community. So that's probably the thing I'm most proud of from my time there.
I agree. I mean, if you really sit back and think about it, that responsibility to head up that agency is such a big responsibility, and I feel like, just looking at you and your team and what you guys put out there, particularly during the pandemic, it's such a heavy responsibility in any context. But
and you don't see it because Gita it's in financial services. I think we find this at any of our where I work now. You have a small number of people that are maneuvering a lot of things, a lot of resources, right? Mm-hmm. And it takes a couple individuals who really, I think, have a passion for it, have the desire to see people succeed, have a desire to see people, meet people's needs, right? And so Gita was a small agency, under 40 employees, mm-hmm. Which by government standards is quite small. And it's a nimble little agency. I used to say we were I said, we're like the Navy SEALs of the government. The governor calls us when there's a problem. She's like, you go in there, SEAL Team 6.
Honey, do you want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores? Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
Well, you guys did an excellent job, I think, in navigating through the pandemic and getting those funds out to the community and to the businesses that needed them. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
I think having you in there was definitely a great move, and I know that your chair at the time, David John, probably kept you on your toes as well.
Sure did.
If he's out there, he's also on my board, and so thank you, DJ. We appreciate you.
Yes, absolutely.
So I just wanted to ask too. So aside from the things you're most proud of at Gita, what do you feel like is what was the most challenging part of that role?
The very challenging part of government work has to be stakeholders. It's really all of the stakeholders. So in private business, in the private sector, you know who your client is. Usually you have a specific client that you're targeting, and you have a specific hurdle that you have to meet. And then from there, that then kind of, all the things kind of, I wouldn't say fall into place, but you can manage all the different, you can manage your success properly, right? Or you can increase the odds of success because there's a very particularly clear path. It's usually how you effectuate the bottom line. In the government, it's not the bottom line, really. It's about delivering within budget, within the time frame. So there's that hurdle there that's financial that I can appreciate. But then there's additional hurdles. There's managing politicians, managing the work of managing the politicians and the leadership. There's 3 branches of government. Of course, it's staying out of the courtroom, which happy to say that I did. But there's the office of the governor, to whom I have kind of a direct line. I report to a board, but you do still you ultimately you work for the governor of Guam, but ultimately we all work for the people of Guam, right? And so it's managing the stakeholders, managing the legislature. Sometimes the legislators come out with their kind of their points of view, not always, sometimes differing points of view, and being able to articulate that. And not necessarily say what's on your mind all the time, because what's on your mind all the time isn't necessarily what people need to hear to feel comforted that comforted that their need is being met. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. In my in my work with the HRA and just my sort of like, I guess, adjacent experience with government, that's such a succinct way of putting it. Stakeholder management. In the private sector, it's like, you have point A and here's point B, and you make your way from point A to point B.
You know, because they're not buying, right? If the customers know, here it's sort of like, I think they're happy. No, they're happy. They're not happy. They're happy. They're not happy, right? It's just, and then in the government, the kudos that you get isn't money. The kudos you get is, I very much like being left alone. It's like, if I'm doing my job, then just don't call me. That's a good thing, right? But in government service, a lot of times it's like, you think you're doing a good job, but this person wants to make a point of view about this, so they come out and they say something, and you're just kind of like, there's no kind of, and there's no appreciation for sort of this past performance is, if past performance is an, what was I going to say? Like
indication.
If past performance is an indication of future performance, like, I've done all these great things. The Gita's done all these great things. Why are we sitting here being given a hard time at, for example, the legislature? Or why are people saying what they're saying in the media, right? Those are the sorts of things that, I think those are the things that took getting used to. And then it just became, this is the largest, the government of Guam serves the largest customer base on our island because it's the whole island, right? It's not just this target. We don't have target markets in the government. We serve everybody, right? And so it's really a matter of how you interpret that. So, yeah.
Well, from an outsider looking in, it seems like you did an excellent job of navigating all of that. So,
Thank you.
So kudos
Thank you very much.
So on your recent decision to step down from your role at Gita, would you be willing to share with us what kind of went into that decision for you to pivot away from that role?
Sure. So much. I think, well, first off, the job of the administrator of this particular agency is very travel heavy. We do a lot of public debt for the government of Guam. So every time you want to borrow, we're going out and doing investor roadshows. We're also doing things to encourage investment in Guam. So things like the governor's trip to Taipei. To encourage investment in Guam. I have 2 small children. I have a 4-year-old and I have a 2-year-old, and their dad is very, very capable. But it was really getting to the point where it was really kind of it was a really difficult proposition for my family to just be. And it wasn't like, oh, every month I travel for a week. It was like 2 trips in March, 2 trips in April, nothing in May, 3 trips in June, nothing in July, nothing in August. So it was unpredictable, right? And so I think when you have small kids, routine and predictability tend to be, put those things at a premium. Also, but then from the government aspirational perspective, usually when you run an agency and you feel like you've done you're kind of ready to move on, move up. Usually for government leadership, it's either taking on a bigger agency, so running a bigger budget, or it's running for public office. I wasn't really looking to run for public office, but when it comes to running a bigger agency, there really weren't any spots available at the time, I guess you could say, and then the stressful parts of the job, the stakeholder management that we talked about earlier, that stuff doesn't go away. It just gets worse. right? And so I said,
the spotlight just gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah. So one of the things I think that really drove me back, especially to financial services, is I do have a pretty serious background in financial services. I was a financial advisor in the past. I was a retirement counselor. I did my graduate in this. I've always been very into personal finance on a personal basis. I listen to the podcasts. I read the books. I've kept kind of current with what's going on with the markets, and that's always been a place that I really I enjoy. I enjoy very much. I enjoy the world of personal finance very much, and on the GITA side, or on the government side of the house, I really hate people leaving money on the table. I really hate it. I want to, as an agency, when I said, "What do you mean we're not investing like this? We need to do this," and for an individual to sit down and let their money work for them, right? And I don't think that people are being exposed to enough of that information here locally. I think you and I both, we like finance, so we go and seek out that information. But for the average person in Guam just trying to live their life and arrive at a comfortable retirement, there's a little more work that an individual has to put in today versus 30 years ago. And I think that being able to shepherd people to that finish line is to me, it's very gratifying, right? So that was kind of what led to it. It was just this, here's where I am in the government. I could move on, move upward, but there's nothing quite yet, available. Or I could go back to the private sector, kind of lean into kind of what, over the years, what I've kept in touch with, what I've kept in, and it's just, I mean, it brings me a lot of joy. I ran into a friend who, I want to say 20 years ago, I was sitting with him. I think we might have been having beer at then Mermaid's Tavern, now Carabao Brewery. And this person was a new professional, just, got his first kind of serious job. And I said, dude, you need to save. I said, if your organization doesn't have a 401k, because it was a small business. I said, if it doesn't have a 401k, if you don't have a 401k yet, just set up an IRA and just automatically fund it every month. And I said, and every year when you get a raise, fund it, get to the point where you max it out. I said, you could even look into, we talked about IRAs versus Roths, blah, blah, blah. So here we are 20 years later. I think I ran into him probably at a place like Carabao or something like that. And I said to him, I was like, hey, bro, what's going on? How are things? Congratulations. I see, your job is a little bigger. He goes, yeah. I said, so what are you doing? Where are you going? He goes, Mel, I still have that account that you set up for me 20 years ago. I said, are you still contributing to it? He said, I've never stopped. And I said, okay, now it's time to come home to mama. So
there you go. You've come full circle.
We've come full circle, right? Yeah. And there aren't very many opportunities. I think that's one of those, I think as a banker, I don't know if people ever come up to you and say, I paid off my mortgage. That brings me joy. But when people accomplish that,
it's worth celebrating. Yeah.
Absolutely. That actual moment is really, like, I've noticed this. It's like that actual moment is no big deal. The minute you pay off your mortgage, you don't really actually. I have not paid off my mortgage, for the record. But the minute you pay it off,
nor have I.
The minute you pay it off, it's no big deal. But the months after, when you have this additional money in your account, that's when you're like, oh, I paid this off.
Yes, it becomes real.
Yes,
right?
I met this hurdle, right? I think that's where, I think that's like a lot of times how meeting your goals, financial goals, tends to feel. That moment is very anticlimactic, but it's afterwards you're like, oh man, I feel better, I feel more comfortable.
Well, I can certainly relate to a lot of what you said, particularly about, career and young children and traveling. That's, kids do need that routine. So good for you that you made that choice.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist. Over 20 years of experience.
I wanted to kind of segue, if possible, into something that I know you're working on today in your role at BG Investment Services, and it's a financial well-being survey. So maybe you would like to share a little bit about what that is and why it's important.
Sure. So one of what I think is really important, so ASC Trust, so BG Investment Services is wholly owned by ASC Trust. ASC Trust probably serves the largest number of they serve the largest number of employees in Guam and Micronesia, in the private sector and across the governments. We don't handle the government of Guam plan yet, but hopefully someday that will be the case as well. When it comes to retirement planning, what we've done over the last 30 years is ASC Trust sends advisors. They send financial counselor type of individuals. They've had different roles over the years, different titles, right? But now financial advisors over the years to work with employees, to talk to them about compound interest, to talk to them about saving and investing, and so on and so forth. But from 30 years ago, times have changed. People are getting their information, and we were very interested to know if we want to effectively deliver our message of how it's important to save for a comfortable retirement. Where are people? We need to know where people are getting their money, because you could throw a lot out there. You could do a post now and then on Instagram or TikTok, but at the end of the day, you need to help people move their needle, right? You need to help people press forward. And if we don't have any kind of sense of, because we all as advisors who've dealt with hundreds, thousands of people and talking to them, I have a sense of what's going on, but I don't know as a whole what's going on, right? And so that was probably the key driver, is we want to know where people are getting their information and what's concerning them
about finance, about retirement,
about money,
investing money,
about investing in money. We want to know where people are getting their information.
And
we
don't have a lot of good data on that.
We don't. That's also helpful, to be honest. That is also helpful from the perspective of things like urban development, right? We don't have a lot of that information when we're going after grants, when the government is going after grants. Financial literacy data is non-existent in Guam and the islands, right? So that was part of it. The second part of it is just in financial services, the next iteration of financial services really has a strong emphasis on financial well-being and how your money plays into your sense of holistic well-being.
Financial well-being sounds a lot more holistic and sort of all-encompassing than financial literacy.
Absolutely. I mean, and 5 years ago, I first read about financial well-being, I was like, well, whatever, man. This is like woo-woo stuff. Yeah. This is like, I'm going to meditate and somehow I'm going to be wealthy, right? I mean, I was like, that is like, manifest more money in my bank account. That's really not what it's about. It's more about addressing stress and anxiety surrounding the decisions you're making regarding money, right? And so I said, so I chatted with an old college professor, an old professor from my graduate studies. Her name is Dr. Sonia Luder. She's a preeminent scholar on financial well-being and all of that. She's been quoted in all the different publications. And she's she's with Texas Tech now. And I chatted with her. I said, listen, Dr. Luder, I would like to send out this survey. I think I can get this level of responses. Can you help me formulate the questions? So all the questions were, they're tested, they're reliable, they're valid, meaning they measure what they're meant to measure. So if you want to measure financial stress, I can't, there's different ways to ask it. How stressed are you? on a scale of 1 to 10, this makes me feel this stressed. You know, so there's different ways. You want to make sure you're capturing the right concept,
Sure.
right?
Yep.
And so with Dr. Luter's help, we put together the survey. It took people less than 10, on average, about 7 minutes to respond. We got 1,250 responses. I'm super happy about that. About 60%.
And is the survey still open?
No, it's closed now.
Oh, okay.
So we had about 60% of respondents were female, 40% male. A lot of them, a really heavy bent on employed. Mostly represented mostly representative of the employed population of Guam. Primarily, probably because when we disseminated we did it through like mailing lists that we have. At ASC Trust and BG Investment Services.
Employed meaning employed at a corporation?
Employed at an organization, although it was made available to the public, so we put it out.
So you probably have a small cross-section of entrepreneurs and small business owners too. That
you know, we did it kind of organically. We also kind of sent it via WhatsApp. Please submit, please participate. I noticed we had a smaller participation from the under 29 set. So everyone I knew under 29. I was like, could you please help your auntie here? It was actually, and it was very, what I thought was very cool about it was the respondents, age-wise, gender, age, ethnicity, was all kind of very much representative of the population of Guam and Micronesia. So it was cool. I thought it was. I think the data that comes out of it is going to be very, very helpful.
And how do you think we should use this data?
Well, the first thing that jumped out to me was really, where are people getting their financial education, right? If they're getting it from their friends and family, we got to make sure we educate as many friends and family about giving proper information. You don't want people going around spreading wrong information, right?
Definitely.
Secondly, it really, I think, helps decision makers figure out what is really driving our clients. So, for example, I mean, I'll ask just a general question for our audience, right? Is what stresses you out more, money or your health?
Ooh. For me, it's my health.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, it's
both.
Yeah.
Probably, but
actually,
I think more so
for me, it's health too. Actually, but you know, you ask people these questions. Some people are way more stressed about money than they are about health.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe because they don't have any health. Maybe they're just no body fat. Who knows? Good blood pressure, good cholesterol. Right. There are also people who they're fine with their money. They're fine with their health. They hate their spouse. Right? Or they're fine with their money, they're fine with their health, they hate their job, right? And one thing drags down everything else, right? And so if we get a bigger sense, I think when I say holistic, I mean like all of Guam and Micronesia, if we say people in Micronesia are more concerned about their money than they are their health, or they're more concerned about their health than their money, but they're far more concerned about that than anything else, right? Then we need to everything that our organization needs to do should be about supporting this this money health ecosystem, right? All about helping people address, and usually when it comes to money, if the intersection of money and health usually has to do with stress and anxiety, worries about money, right? And that's so then when I think of that, when I look at something, and I'm just kind of predicting what the results are going to be. I don't know what the results are of this, but I predict that there's going to be a strong correlation between financial well-being and physical health well-being, right? Let's just say that's an outcome. Then everything that I do has to really be directed at addressing stress and anxiety around money decisions, right? So, and so that's and in general, I think that's a good. I mean, that to me is just that is kind of my ethos when I work with my clients, is hey, okay, so what's on your mind? Because there's a lot that we can do. There's a lot already out there that we can do to help them get the best return on their investments. That is a given, right? But what's the difference between going online and coming and working with a financial advisor? A financial advisor will help you through the different iterations of your financial life, right? So that's to me is where people like me add value. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, that is going to be fascinating to see the results of that study. And with that, let's go ahead and take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Mel Mandiola.
Win one championship, you're celebrated. Win twice, they call you a hero. 3 times, they say words like legend and dynasty. 4, 5, 6 titles, they'll say enough is enough. But when you've won it all 7 times, what's left to say? The trophy speaks for itself. Introducing the full lineup of Ram trucks. Ram, 7-time winner of Motor Trend's Truck of the Year.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Women Rising, and welcome back to our guest today, Mel Mendiola with BG Investment Services. So Mel, I have some insider info that you will be one of the masterclass presenters at the upcoming Fanatsu Famalawan Conference. This is the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce Annual Leadership Summit on September 26th. So can you tell us a little bit more about your masterclass?
Sure. So, it's not quite complete yet. I'm not quite done yet.
We won't hold you to it. You know, just give us a high level.
Yeah.
Level.
What I think, what I'm thinking is that the Fanatsu Famalawan audience oftentimes is comprised of in the growth stage of their journey, their career journey, right? And so I said, when you're in the growth stage of your career journey, it's a lot of it is about organizing and setting a plan into motion, right? But then we might have some things that are kind of just bringing us, just stressing us, giving us a little bit of stress. Loans, for example, sometimes student loans are a big stressor. Credit card debt, and early debt kind of that you tend to take on early in your life. So it'll be addressing debt, addressing, putting plans into motion to get organized and press forward, and setting goals. And but I think I'm also going to devote a nice portion of the presentation really to addressing the root of the problem, or root of the issue, which is oftentimes why do we feel that, why do we spend in a certain way? So addressing things. There's a concept called money scripts that a scholar a couple years, over a decade ago.
Like programs?
Yes.
Money scripts in your subconscious.
In your subconscious.
Okay.
A lot of the research shows that most of our money behaviors are learned from our parents. Mm-hmm. So if your parents had a good relationship with money, then you are more likely to have a good relationship with money. If your parents had a dysfunctional relationship with money, you are more likely to have a dysfunctional relationship with money, right? And so given that, there's certain scripts that we have in our head. Dr. Brad Klontz is the scholar on this one. And it's stuff like debt is bad. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest one I can think. Money is evil.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Wanting money.
Or people who have money are inherently evil.
People who have money are selfish and greedy, whatever it is. Yes. For me, and then I think this is particularly true for women, and relevant for Fanatsu Famalawan, is women who want money are greedy and bad people, and I think that's the kind of stuff that I want to spend a little bit of time unpacking that, because the truth is,
here's another one. If you have money, you shouldn't brag about it. You shouldn't talk about it.
You shouldn't talk about it. Mm-hmm. And and I think that's to me, there's a lot of different ways we can all communicate about money without being kind of cringy and embarrassing, But I think that if we can get people, if we can get individuals, especially women, who are making decisions in their household, who have this kind of earning power, to kind of remove these blocks. Because a lot of the financial education the financial education back when you and I were emerging young professionals
wasn't that long ago.
Which wasn't that long ago, nevertheless. It was like, stop buying lattes. That's why you're poor. because of lattes. You're poor because of, you know, and I will say that's a part of me too is sort of like, okay, you can't YOLO all day every day.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to make some key decisions here.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many lattes you buy or how many bags you buy. It's really the behavior behind. Why do you feel the need to buy a latte every single day or twice a day? Or, you know, is it boredom? Is it is it I feel I need to treat myself? Why do you feel you need to treat yourself? You know, so it's addressing those sorts of things. It's not about the thing. It's not about the latte. It's not about the purse. Right. It's not about, and you know, that's one thing.
It's the programming underneath.
It's the programming underneath. And that's another thing is, you know, the financial services industry they always target when they're talking about like bad, you know, the scholarly word is deleterious financial behaviors, the really harmful financial behaviors. They almost always there's always a subtext of talking to women because they're always saying, oh, it's because of too many purses. You spend too much on clothing.
Exactly.
Oh, they're really talking to guys. No, they're not talking to guys. They're talking to girls, okay? Because they never say, oh, you spend too much money on sports tickets or watches or whiskey.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Right? And so that to me is the kind of the flavor we'll put in because it's a woman-centric event.
Well, that sounds fascinating, and you heard it here, folks. So get your ticket to Fanatsu Famalawan and sign yourself up for Mel's Masterclass. It's going to be great. If you would like to learn more about the conference, you can go check on socials for Guam Women's Chamber. Mel, I have just a few fun little rapid fire questions for you. Are you down?
Sure, fire away.
Okay, what is your guilty pleasure purchase that a financial advisor definitely wouldn't recommend? Please don't say lattes.
Okay, I will never, no, as your financial advisor, I will never tell you something's a bad idea. If that makes you happy, you know what, that makes you happy. What I will ask you is if that one purchase will make you happy, then I want you to go for it. But if you feel that you need to do it again and again and again, and it's a repeated behavior that then becomes harmful to you meeting your goals, that's where there's a problem.
So what's your guilty pleasure?
Lately, okay, I want to buy a painting by an artist, and I feel like, oh, art is an investment, so the value will go up. Just like how there are a lot of people who think certain designer bags will go up in value, so they're like, I'm going to buy it.
But you're not buying it as an investment. You're buying it for you.
Yeah, I just want to buy it for me.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
And I feel like everyone I've spoken to about this are just like shaking their head. No, no, no. The painting's like that small.
I support.
And I don't know. And then my kids could ruin it. I mean, there's just so many no's all around me. So we'll see.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Hard decision for you. Okay. You get $1 million, but you can only spend it on things that make people smile. What's your first purchase?
I'll buy there's this massage chair over at Kathy's Style that Ray, every time we go to Kathy's Style, usually we go with the purpose of buying like, you know, a mattress or something for the kids, something practical. We need a new couch, right? And every time we go, Ray lays on this massage, and I do the math for him. I say, you know what, you could go to a spa and get massages covered by your insurance, and I give him the whole like laundry list, and he's like, yeah, but this is just at home when we need it.
So you know what to get for Father's Day, huh? Mm-hmm. Okay, more fun to analyze, GDP charts or grocery receipts?
I like grocery receipts, sure.
Okay, save, spend, or splurge. What's your payday vibe in one word?
My payday vibe?
Yes. Save, spend, or splurge?
Spend, but not splurge. Just spend.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And lastly, would you rather have unlimited coffee or a debt-free life?
I could totally find a substitute. I'm very into matcha these days. So no, I don't need coffee. I could definitely go with a debt-free life.
Debt-free life.
Say goodbye to coffee forever. I would be sad, but it's doable.
I would be very sad too.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll figure out a way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Mel, thank you so much for coming in today. This was super fun. Thank you for being our guest. And thanks to all of you for joining us. Now we're going to tune in with Dina Pangilinan, the president of the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce, for her President's Take.
Half a day. My name is Dina Rendon Pangilinan, and I am the president of Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce. Sidzus Maasi for joining us on our 6th episode of Women Rising here at KUAM Studios. What an insightful and vital conversation held here today. Thank you to Maria and Mel for a glimpse into your journey. Success is even sweeter when shared. On behalf of the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce, we invite you to join us on this journey where together we help drive the equal participation of women in business and help shape the future of our island home in Guam. Whether you have been with us all along or just tuning in, thank you for your continued support. Next month is our highly anticipated Women's Leadership Summit, Fanatsu Famalawan. This annual event brings together over 400 attendees for an inspiring day to learn from some of our island's best. We are incredibly proud to share this year our keynote speaker is Livia Murati, a local wellness entrepreneur, holistic health coach, and the founder of Ina Wellness Collective. Livia bridges the space between strategy and soul, and she's bringing that wisdom with her to the Fanatsu stage. Come join and bloom with us on September 26th at the lovely Hyatt Regency Guam. The energy doesn't stop there. In October, the Women's Business Center Committee will be launching the start of our brand new book club, a founder's bookshelf, recurring features that honor the women who built the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce by exploring the books that have shaped their thinking and leadership. Come for the conversation and stay for the community. Let's turn the page together on October 7th at the Women's Business Center in Hagåtña. Stay up to date on details, ticket sales, and more by following our social medias, Instagram or Facebook, and visiting our website, guamwomenschamberofcommerce.com. Sidus Ma'asi for being here with us today, and follow along as we continue this journey next month with another episode of Women Rising. Adios for now.
Women Rising on the KUAM Podcast Network is produced by the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce. Learn more about the GWCC by visiting their website, www.guamwomenschamber.com, or any of their social media accounts. Join us next month for another episode.